Should you be a sole trader or a limited company? Well, my friend, today we're going to find out. Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Emma Cownley. I'm a freelance writer, and today we're going to talk through the pros and cons of being a sole trader or being a limited company. So I'm going to start by saying that it's pretty important that you decide whether you're going to be a sole trader or a limited company right at the beginning of your freelance career, because the decision that you make will determine how you do your tax, how you pay yourself, and how you set up your business from day one. It's not really the kind of thing that you can just toddle off and then be like, oh, actually I'm going to do this. If you were going to make that decision, you'd probably have to wait till the end of the tax year or the financial year to change that, and then you would have to kind of rebrand, and it would be a right old pain in the keister. So I recommend do your research and make the decision as soon as you possibly can, because otherwise it's hella ball ache. I've got my trusty clipboard and some really fucking dire looking notes, man. I've done the hard work so you don't have to. I hope you know that. I'm going to include all the resources for you below that I've used for research and that I've used to help make my own decision and to help myself get set up. Loads of essential reading. I'll link it all for you below just in case you want to go off and do extra reading or go back to the source and figure out where the hell I got my information from. I'm not one of those YouTubers that just vomits bullshit. You know, there are factual, actual sources that you can get into and enjoy. But hey, just stay and watch this first though, yeah? Another important thing to consider is that the decision you make will also determine how you are perceived by your peers and by your clients. Let's face it, each business style comes with its own set of predetermined perceptions. These are not perceptions that I'm putting on you right now in this moment. They're just there. They exist out there outside of me. So that's another thing to consider. It's going to affect your finances, your legal, your tax, your brand, and just basically the whole fucking shebang. No pressure. Don't make the wrong fucking choice. So let's start with sole trader. What is a sole trader? A sole trader is somebody who is self-employed. They work for themselves, they employ themselves, they do not have a business, they are a worker within themselves. It's also known as being self-employed. Sole trader, self-employed. That's what you are. That's what most freelancers kind of start out as. You are a sole trader. So the pros of being a sole trader are that you get to keep every single cent of the profit that you make. It goes straight into your personal account every time a client pays an invoice. There is no distinction between your finances and your business finances. You keep everything that you earn, apart from obviously tax that you pay, and I think you pay income tax and national insurance on top of what you've earned, but apart from that it's all yours. Pretty cut and dry really. Probably use the same account you've got right now. Fuck it. So that's a pro. When you're a sole trader, you get to trade under your own name. So basically there's no rigmarole about trademarks or company's house or anything like that. You basically are your business. So you can trade under your name, and that's absolutely fine. You don't have to do anything, you just have to be yourself as you currently are being right now. You can also choose to use a business name, but you will have to make sure that it's not offensive or taken by anybody else. But I mean, as it goes, you can just trade as yourself. It's easy. You don't have to do anything. And the third pro of being a sole trader is that you don't have to fucking do anything to get set up. If you today decide, I'm going to be a sole trader, all you would have to do is go to the HMRC website, register yourself as a sole trader so that the government knows that you are no longer employed by somebody else. You are employed as yourself, and they will just sort out your tax for you. At the end of the year, they will tell you how much tax you owe on your earnings. You just pay that and you just carry on as normal. So really, the whole pro of being a sole trader is that you don't have to fucking do anything, bro. All you have to do is register as a sole trader, and you're a sole trader. You're already doing it. You've already got the account set up. You know, you've already got the business name. You're good to go. It's just cut and dry. It's fucking easy as fuck. I guess a tangent to that, point number 4, is that tax is really easy. when you are a sole trader, because as I said, government fucking does it for you, bro. You don't have to fanny about, they just tell you how much you owe and you pay it. And then it's just, you know, your two types of tax, your income tax and your national insurance, which is, I think, what you would pay anyway if you were employed in-house or in a permanent position. So, bosh. Cons of being a sole trader. The first one is a really big one. It's what put me off. And that is that you are liable for any financial losses that your business makes. As a sole trader, you don't have any protection. You don't have the protection of a registered business. Because you are the business, you are liable. So any financial difficulty that you get into through business, that's 100% on you. 2, and this is another big one that put me off, and that is that bigger clients are unlikely to want to work with you if you're a sole trader. Don't harsh on me, bro. These are not my rules. This is what I heard, and then I went to do some digging and some research to film this video, and yeah, it turns out that clients are less likely to want to deal with an individual or a sole trader. I think purely because of the financial and legal implications. If it does go wrong, they can't get their money back, because if you're bankrupt, they can't get that. And also there's a certain level of prestige that comes with founding and owning a business that a sole trader just does not have. It's horrible to say it, but that is how many of them view the situation, and I personally found that to be true as well. I pitched for a really big contract very early on in my career and was asked right off the bat, are you a limited company? And I was like, holy fuck, I better quickly do this and then say yes, I am. What? So that's a really big one. It just depends on who you like working with and who you plan to work with in the future as to whether or not that's going to be an issue for you. Con number 3, and this is another one that got me personally, it just really irked me and I didn't like the way that it felt, is that as a sole trader, you have to take all of your profits into your personal account each month. That means that if you don't have retainers or a solid month-on-month income, and let's face it, how many of us do, your profits each month are going to go up and down and up and down and up and down. So one month you might get paid £2,000, the next month you might get paid £4,000, the following month you might get paid £6,000, and it just means that there's no consistency. You have no choice but to take every single profit, because it goes directly into your personal account. So your money is going to fluctuate wildly each month. Some people don't mind that. I guess you could just take it and put any excess in a savings account and do it that way. But I personally, you know, I like rules and regulations. So, I mean, I just like to separate those out. But, I mean, you could consider it a con, you could consider it a pro, I don't know. I've put it under cons because, to me, it's a con. And now we move on to limited companies. What is a limited company? When you set up a limited company, you are separating yourself from the business. You are registering the business as a separate entity that has its own separate finances, and you are an employee of that business. So I become the majority shareholder of my business, and because it's a limited company, it's limited by shares. I own all the shares because I'm the only person in the company, and I pay myself a monthly salary, and as the director I can take out dividends anytime I want throughout the month to any amount that I want, as long as it's recorded. So to be a limited company basically means the business is limited by shares. You can divvy out who owns any amount of shares. If you've got like a partner and you wanted them to own some shares, you can put them down as a shareholder in your business. But essentially what you're doing is you are setting up and establishing a company as a separate entity from yourself, and you are being employed by that company. Pros of being a limited company. And the first big pro, as I just mentioned, is that the business is separate from you. If some shit goes down financially or legally, you're not liable, the business is liable. So basically they would take everything out of the business, crumple that shit down, expire it, and it wouldn't impact me as a person. I'd be able to walk away from it relatively unscathed. Unlike a sole trader where you go down, bitch. I mean, it's unlikely that shit's going to go that badly wrong if you're just a freelance writer, but imagine it did. Just imagine. So a tangent to that is that your business finances are separate from your own. So all of your business finances and all of your earnings each month go into a business account, and you pay yourself a monthly wage from that account and take dividends from that account. So your personal account and your business account are separate. So you get a nice stable monthly income that's regulated and documented, and it's all very neat and tidy, and you can just make sure that each month you've got a consistent income, which for me is very important. I like to know how much I'm going to earn each month, regardless of how much I've actually made. It's nice. Third biggest yes point, and as I'm sure you can imagine, it mirrors the cons of being a sole trader, and that is that bigger clients are more likely to work with you because of the prestige of you being a company within yourself, and also because, I mean, it's more beneficial for them. There's less risk involved if they're dealing with a limited company rather than them dealing with an individual, which has the potential to become a little bit messy. And the fourth pro is that you can get certain tax benefits when you're a company. If you have a really good accountant like I do, they'll tell you all of the ways that you can work tax to get better benefits out of it, such as company cars and logging expenses and stuff, and all sorts of crazy shit that I don't understand, and that's why I pay an accountant, because I just don't get it, so they just tell me and I just do what they say. So yeah, you can get better tax benefits if you're a limited company. Being a limited company does have its drawbacks though, and we're going to discuss that right now. The first of which being that it's such a pain in the fucking arse to find a good company name that's not already registered. When you're coming up with a business name, obviously branding is a huge thing. I do a lot of work in branding, so I know that it's never as straightforward as it seems like it might be. The whole name has to encompass you and a feeling, and has to be really clever and really catchy and really cool, but then you have to make sure that it's not already registered on Companies House. Then you have to make sure that it's not already trademarked, and then you have to do a little Google search to make sure that someone else isn't already just using it, having not registered it or checked it for trademark. I came up with some really great name ideas in the very beginning, and they weren't trademarked and they were free to register on Companies House. I was really excited, thought I'd cover my ass by doing a Google search, and found out some other chick was using the name. She just started using it without registering it, and so basically all of the searches, the internet searches, would go to her because she'd been established longer, she'd already kind of owned that name and owned that territory. So even though I could go in with the legal and just really, it's not worth it. She already owns that territory. People searching for it would just become confused. So it's a lot of ball ache to find a cool name and go through the whole process of registering it and shit. You know, it can be a pain in the arse. Second annoying thing about being a limited company is that you don't just have all your money there ready for you to access whenever the fuck you want. As a sole trader, it's already in your account, so you can spend as much or as little of your own money as you want. But when you are a limited company, you can't do that. You get monthly PAYE, so you get a salary paid to you through PAYE, and then you take dividends. But every single time you do that, it must be recorded on your books, and your salary does as well. So they need to have a perfect log of how much you've taken out of your business every single time that you do it. Obviously, you only get salary once a month, and you can take dividends as often as you like. But you have to have enough in your business account so that you could pay taxes. You can't just rinse your business account. That's just not disco. You're not allowed, apparently, to do that. So everything has to be documented so that they can make sure you're paying the correct amount of tax at the end of the year. So you can't be sneaking money off on the side, because that's kind of embezzling, and then you get in a whole load of shit. It's so easy to get in trouble when you're a private limited company. That's why I would always recommend getting an accountant, because they can make sure that you're not doing anything dumb, which most of the time, like, I fucking am. Also, there are fees when you're a limited company. You need to pay Companies House £12 a year to maintain your status on their website, and you also need to pay corporation tax at the end of every tax year. So you're not just paying tax on your own earnings, you have to pay tax on the earnings that the company makes as well. Speaking of that, the final most annoying thing about being a limited company is the fact that it's a little bit of a pain in the arse to set it up. As I said, you've got to go through that whole naming debacle and then register that on Companies House. Then you have to go away to gov.co.uk and go through the whole process of registering your limited company. You have to answer a bunch of questions, say who's going to be the majority shareholder, who the money goes to if you die, because as a limited company your company lives on, even after you die. Whereas if you're a sole trader, if you die, your company dies. But as a business, it is an established business, so I have to say who's going to step in and take it over if I die, and then register it with the government as well, so that they know that there's a business that they need to tax. So, I mean, it doesn't take a really long time, but it can be a bit mind-boggling to do. And as I said, there are fees as well. So if you want something quick and easy to set up, definitely don't become a limited company. And there we come to the end of the video. I hope I didn't blow your fucking mind. Now, as I said at the beginning, this choice is totally unique to you. So really do your research, check out the links I've left you below, and just make sure that you're perfectly happy with your choice before you go forth, because once you do it, it's really hard to go back. I hope that you found this useful. If you did, leave me a comment, let me know. And if you're already a freelancer that's made the decision, fucking hell, leave a comment, share up, help someone else make the decision based on your experiences and your knowledge and resources that you used. It would be really helpful for you to do that. I know that I would have appreciated some insight like that. So yeah, get in touch, start a convo. You can also find me on Twitter at EJ Cownley if you would like to continue the discussion, or let me know a video that you would like to see in the future. So until then, I'll see you back here in 2 weeks, same time, same place, for more Kiss My Ace. Take care, peace out.